Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another game of Super Rugby Pacific. This one a crucial one. Crusaders versus the Reds. We have recently seen the Highlanders get themselves the win, which bumps them up a little bit further into that top 8. But as you can see, the gap between the Reds in 6th and the rest of the bunch is slowly dwindling. So the big thing here for the Reds is if they can get a victory over the Crusaders in Christchurch, that would drastically boost their chances of making it through to the quarterfinals. Whereas if they are to lose this game, it will not only put the Crusaders towards that top 8, depending on the margin and the bonus point situation, but it could also mean that the Reds will be sweating bullets for their next few contests. Looking through at the Crusaders starting lineup, of course the sun is out at the moment. It's the same in Christchurch, so hopefully it will go down very soon so that it isn't shining in on the screen. But George Bower, Brodie McAllister and Fletcher Newell will be the front row. Scott Barrett and Quinton Strange in the locking duo, and boy did he make an impact. Scott Barrett returning recently for the Crusaders, completely different side when he's on the field. Cullen Grace at number 6 with Ethan Blackadder, who was going to be 7, but it is actually now Corey Callow due to a late injury, and it means that Christian Leo Willie keeps his spot, slotting in as the number 8. Mitchell Drummond and David Havili at number 10. Now, before the game, they said that the All Blacks had requested to see Havili play at 10. And I guess that is because Razor's got some sort of plan cooking. And perhaps David Havili is a part of that plan for moving forward. Dallas McLeod at 12 with Levi Moore on his outside at 13. And then Sever Reese, Johnny McNichol, and the debut of Lee Halfpenny slotting in at number 15 for this contest. Then, for the Reds, it has Benny Ravai, Matt Faisler and Jeffrey Tuamunga Allen in the front row. Ryan Smith and Angus Blythe in the locking duo with Liam Wright, Fraser McWright returning at 7 and Harry Wilson there as the number 8. Kalani Thomas and also Lawson Creighton will be the 19. Matt Greeley, Hunter Paisami, Josh Fluke, the hat-trick hero, Tim Ryan, although it wasn't quite enough to get the victory over the Blues for the Reds last week, and then Jock Campbell is there at number 15 to close out what is a strong Reds lineup who are ready to go in what will be a very important game. Hi, Alan Hamish. Says Robert, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. They are just showing Scott Barrett making his way out of the tunnel with this Crusaders side. When you talk about the All Blacks and the future that they have got, he is certainly a part of it. Some people even rumouring that the captaincy could go the way of it. Scott Barrett in the future. Nice names for the Reds, big names. Says Stan, and yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it isn't always just about the big names, though. The likes of Tim Ryan last week, getting himself 3 tries up against the Blues. He's only recently got out of school, and now he's already scoring tries for the Reds, making a name for himself. But his second start at fly half in first class rugby, and the last time that he started was actually for the Crusaders in February 2020. Now, like I mentioned before, it was requested that we get to see Havili play at 10 by the All Blacks. So that would be Scott Robinson. He's cooking up a plan, and he wants to see whether or not Havili would be a good option at 10, maybe to back up McKenzie. At the moment, I would say that aside from McKenzie, I guess that big question is who is that other fly half that you look at for New Zealand? Whether that is maybe, Beauden Barrett still rumoured about coming back into the ABs, but that depends on whether or not he's available. In terms of Australia, they've got a lot more options at the moment, whether that's Carter Gordon, Ben Donaldson, or maybe... Did I say Ben Donaldson? I think I did. Tell you what, that sun is beautiful if it wasn't right on my face. I look like something out of the Terminator. At the moment, the curtains hopefully will be arriving next week, ladies and gents. There's just no curtain there, so that is why it is. So, right, I could put my hand there like that, but eventually I think I'll get sick of it. But for now, we'll do it. D-Mac must be New Zealand's number 1. Yep, he's the 10 at the moment for the All Blacks. I think everyone is pretty much in agreement in that regard. It's just more of the question of who is the backup option at 10 for the ABs. Tim Ryan, 3 games, 3 tries for that young man. 8 defenders beaten in the last contest. But yeah, I think this is the most sun that we've had all day, ladies and gentlemen. It's been overcast pretty much 90% of today. Now, both sides getting ready to go for this contest. Yo. Just got back from Club Rugby. Another great win for my club. B's won 52-10 and A's won 58-17. Also, the weather was just perfect for it. Just make today a very great day, says Pads Ablaze. And there as well, hopefully the teams do continue winning in the future, Paddy. Of course, the Crusaders, their big goal here is going to be to try and pick up another victory now. Try and work their way towards those. They are currently sitting in 10th place. But a win here with a bonus point would actually bump them up to 8th if they win it by 24 points or more. I really want to be out there, says Pads Ablaze. I mean, injuries, of course, do happen in rugby, and someone who found that out recently was actually Ethan Blackadder. Again, unfortunately, going to be missing from this game due to an injury. Jordan Way, he is going to be the man in charge of this one alongside Damon Murphy, Jeremy Markey, and Brett Cronin. Will be the TMO. I'm going to put my arm down because that was already getting a little bit tired. But the Sun, I would say we're only about 10 minutes away from that completely disappearing. But the Reds, they are going to be kicking this one off from left to right. They have big opportunity here for the Reds to get themselves a win. Don't make me laugh. Crusaders will win. That time is over, says Stan. That's what they want you to think. Like, that's the thing, though. I've said it multiple times throughout this season. Until I see Crusaders with eliminated written next to their name, I'm not underestimating this team. They actually seem like they're starting to find a little bit of form near the back end of the competition, whereas normally they start well and then just continue on. Like, they've gone through a season that is one that they will not forget for a long time, but I still don't want to be the side to face them in the quarterfinals, as you just never know what's going to happen. I mentioned about it as well earlier on. There's a chance that the Crusaders finish 8th and knock out the favourites of the competition. You just can't underestimate the Saders when it comes to playoff rugby. Great work. Oh, in fact, no, Barrett has been penalised for that one. Okay, 12's gone back, so that is actually the penalty going against Dallas McLeod in there. It's me, Carmen James. Says cross-boarding there would go the Saders, and both A's and B's were undefeated. I have injured, so I won't be out there unless we're struggling badly for numbers. Well, you probably, even with the struggling side in terms of numbers, probably still shouldn't play, because or else you will find yourself probably with a worse injury. You've already got a couple of them stacked up, Paddy. Now, already into the 22, the Reds deciding that they want to go for the line out here rather than going for the 3 points. So Matt Faisler, to throw this one in. Blackadder is a fragile player, constantly injured. I think he goes that hard that it always ends up backfiring for him. So I wouldn't say he's fragile per se. I'd just say that with the amount of contact that man takes, it's no wonder that he ends up with injuries. Good kick downfield from David Harvey. Awkward bouncing one, but well controlled by Tim Ryan, who now fires it across. Crusaders fans felt like that one was forward in the stands, but it is going to be play on the halfway line for Jock Campbell. They've got the penalty advantage as well here for the Reds. Ref was just about to blow for it. Hunter Paisami crunched there by Fletcher Null, and they will go back for the penalty. I love rugby, says Cross-Border. And be sure to recover completely before walking back out on. You can risk permanent damage, patience, and honour, sir. And congratulations for your club. And plus, both teams were doing great. So rather let them keep going with how they're doing, says Pads Ablaze. But another penalty going against the Crusaders early on in this match. Now Hudson Creighton kicks it towards the touchline. Does get it out to about 20 metres from the line at the moment. I feel like this is one of those games here for the Crusaders that if they can start putting together win after win, I don't think this might be a controversial statement, but I don't think any side had it as tough as the Crusaders for their early matches in the competition. It's Carmen Sons, James. James says little cross kick there from the Reds. Awkward bouncing ball cleaned up by Reese, who almost ended up, he has taken that one back. So it's going to be a 5 metre. No, in fact, it's a penalty for offside against the Reds. That is a little bit of a reprieve there for the Crusaders. Need more sun on your legs too, says Robert. I assume that's from the entertainment channel. Yeah, they don't get too much sun. Definitely not at this time of year. You normally have the pants on. I don't know. I'll be sure. And thanks, bro. I hope you all are doing well, by the way. Says Pads Ablaze. Now 3.5 minutes gone in this contest. Now for anyone who's unfamiliar with what our plan is for this game, we have got a sevens contest that we are going to be covering a bit later on in the day. That is going to be at about 5:20, I believe, New Zealand time. Which does mean that theoretically we'll be able to cover the first half of this game, and then we will be giving updates throughout that sevens live stream. In fact, it's 5:35 p.m. is when Ireland versus Fiji will be starting. So we are going to be doing a little bit of a multi-type arrangement. But that stream here will be finishing, and we will be going on to the sevens that has taken place as well. But now running forward was Josh Fluke in the midfield. Reds at the moment in possession. Nice bit of work there from Angus Blythe. Now Kalani Thomas back into the pocket. Goes to the Reds. Have a look at the Discord channel. I will in a moment. It's currently in the middle of play though, so we'll have to wait for the stoppage. Johnny McNichol. We haven't actually mentioned Lee Halfpenny's name as of yet. I don't believe the ball has touched him. Quite a few Welsh players. It's possible for Fiji to make the quarterfinal. It certainly is. A win over the Brumbies in their next game would massively help that, but they still have a good chance. Currently ranked 8th overall. The Crusaders will be breathing right down their necks at the end of this round if they can get themselves a win here. Here comes Lee Halfpenny. Did he just injure himself? I don't think he did, but he didn't look like he had a huge amount of Oh, that's straight off the face of Levi Moore. And it means that the Reds back in possession. Wide cut out pass. Hunter Paisami looks for the offload. Does manage to get it away to Matt Greeley, who goes for the chip in behind. And it's going to be nicely taken by David Havili inside of the 22. I meant the Fiji team in the sevens. Oh, sorry. Yeah, they still have a good chance if they win this next game. But it's going to be tricky because they are sitting 0 from 2. But the benefit that they had in their last contest, I believe, was they were within 7. So they could go through as one of the best third place teams. But they'd need a big win to get that points differential up as well, I believe. And so yeah, Betty Cheers, mate. See you, Sebastian. Currently 6 minutes into this contest. The ball has gone out. Drummond starting in this match again. I see a video of a couple cats, is what Novmum sent in the Discord. Now off the back. It's still playing at the moment. I've got it on the other screen. Waiting for the... Oh, yeah, a little bit of a tap there from one of the cats. I see. The biggest betrayal since Scar pushing Mustafa off the cliff. Little grubber in behind there. And Johnny McNichol, ooh, he almost didn't gather that ball. Were they on the field? They were inside of the 22. Still the Reds. They had found themselves there pretty much for a majority of the last 3 or so minutes. But then Johnny McNichol, after the grubber was put through from the Reds, did force it down. And is now the goal line dropout. And see, the Landers got the win. Moana gave them a good go, though. Yeah, it was a really good first half from Moana Pacifica. Unfortunately, second half, they didn't actually score any points. And then the Highlanders just getting themselves, I believe it was the 3 penalties in that second half to help them out. Now going off to the left-hand side, here comes Harry Wilson. Charges straight at Cullen Grace. That's a lot of contact between those two. Hudson Creighton puts it in behind, skip pass out wide, going to Matt Greeley again, goes for the grubber, but Jock Campbell was in front. So I believe if he had ended up with that ball, it would have been a penalty for offside. Now Drummond, cross to George Bell. In fact, that time it is Fletcher Null with the ball in hand. And like I said, this is the only time that the sun's actually been out today for us here. It's quite nice. Ball's gone high. Oh, good shot from Dallas McLeod. It's going to be the line-out opportunity for the Crusaders, who do take it quickly. Lee Halfpenny now in position, fires it across to David Havili, who will put it downfield on his right boot. Found some open space, awkward bouncing ball, and it goes into touch about 27 metres out from the Reds line. Yeah, big contact between Cullen Grace and Harry Wilson there. A pretty decent shot being put in from Dallas McLeod on Hudson Creighton as well. So a lot of physicality between these two teams at the moment. Now 25 metres from their line, the Reds will have themselves a line out with Matt Faisler. Throws it in. And it's gone over the top. Now claimed by George Bauer. Also, Crusaders, their best performance of the year coming last week in their game up against the Rebels. Got themselves the penalty advantage for the player not rolling away, milked by Drummond, but they already had a penalty advantage anyway. And the ref for B's game was bad. First yellow was fair enough, but second one was crap. I like how you call a high tackle no arms when it wasn't high, and player bounce. Beautiful pass out wide from the Crusaders. And Cullen Grace, I believe that's 2 weeks in a row that man has been able to score himself a try. Finding plenty of space out on the wing. 4 tries in the season now for the Timaru local. David Arvelli, beautiful skip pass straight to Cullen Grace. That's what the Reds is about, hard running. Yeah, unfortunately they weren't hard defending there as the Crusaders able to just run it straight in. Oh, they're going to check this last pass though from David Arvelli to make sure that it's gone backwards. It did look very flat, so maybe a bit of a reprieve for the Reds here. Okay, no, sorry. It isn't the pass. It's actually a knock-on from Red earlier on. Which does mean there will be no try, but they did still have themselves the penalty advantage. Like if he didn't bounce out the arms, would have been wrapped. Come on, it was a good hard hit. See, here's Bads ablaze. So Cullen Grace might have a bit of a shoulder injury here as well. And dry Crusaders. They're looking for the potential knock-on here. Don't think we've seen it at that moment. It must be this next breakdown. And sorry, Crusaders. Okay, Brett Cronin's just said he can't find a replay of it, but it was a clear knock-on against the Crusaders. Jordan Way says that's all right. I don't need to see it. We'll go back for the penalty advantage. Rugby is getting a bit soft nowadays. Says Bads Blaze. I mean, it is in some regards, but then at the same time, we like to see players remembering their own name when they reach the age of 40, don't we? So, less head contact, the better, I would say, in some regards. Yes, every once in a while there's going to be the exception to the rule and there's going to be a big hit flying in. The try has been scratched. No try for Cullen Grace there. We're going to see the knock-on. Yeah, knock-on from Scott Barrett on the ground. Yeah, but it's a name sport, says Sten there. I think they're just asking the question, do they think that Scott Barrett actually knew that he had knocked that ball on, just didn't want to tell anyone? Lee Halfpenny, going to be the man lining up the kicks today. It's quite interesting that they would go with him and agreed. Can't even knock out the opposing prop during scrums anymore. It's disgraceful, says Sebastian. Now Lee Halfpenny from 23 metres out for his first chance of getting points for the Crusaders. Is he going to get it over or is he going to shank it? He shanked it. It's gone away to the left and that's going to keep the score now sitting at... Oh, he couldn't even catch that T when it was passed, his mouth guard when it was passed back to him. But 11 minutes in, still 0-0 between these two sides. Saying that for Riley Hoihepe, he had a similar experience in terms of not being able to get the first kick. And to be fair, in that game, Cam Miller up against Moana Pacifica, he did miss the first kick and then from there went on to have an extremely great game. Now on the halfway line, Christian Leo Willie, the Crusaders still sitting on 0-0 in this game. Severis gets the inside pass, couldn't get the offload away to Cullen Grace, who manages to get the clean out on Ryan Smith. Now to the right-hand side. Fletcher Null goes one more to Lee Halfpenny. Looks to run the ball through a gap. It did close up pretty quick, and that's going to be another penalty advantage now. And the penalty is awarded to the Crusaders. Side entry from Hunter Paisami. Do they give Lee Halfpenny another shot at the post now? Or do they decide instead to just leave him? Yep, they're going for the corner. That's probably the right play. I get stopping the bad foul play. But trying, making the game safer by lowering tackle height. Won't make it safer. Player will just go lower. Then you get cards and stuff like why. See, it's Panzer Blaze. But yeah, it's all in the bigger picture of trying to limit head contact. because like rugby in general has been sued quite a bit because of like players taking head knocks and then ending up with like injuries from that type of thing and lasting effects. Now only 5 meters out from the Crusaders. Speaking of scrum smacking, have you spoken to Big Norm as of late? I haven't actually. I'll have to get in contact with him. I think I was talking to him after the World Cup was probably the last time. So we'll have to see what he's up to. Definitely with international rugby coming back very soon. Nice run sideways from Lee Halfpenny. About 12 metres out from the line at the moment for the Crusaders. Sever Reese fires it across to Levi Moore. Tackled low in the middle of the field by Fraser McWright. Now Drummond goes across to Null. The Reds' defence so far throughout the early stages of this contest have been very impressive, not allowing the Crusaders to break their way through with the exception of the one when they were under advantage. That's players' fault. If you're going to be in better teams, you should know how to play fair and not take someone's head off. But unfortunately, like everyone's like reacts differently to adrenaline and it, like people have different tempers. So like you could be the safest tackler in the world, right? That's going to be another penalty to the Crusaders. You could play the most clean game of rugby, and all it takes is one bloke to have a little bit of a tantrum, and he decides to clothesline you, and then all of a sudden you're concussed. You can't play rugby for the rest of your life. Like, if you get a serious one, like that's what happened to Isaac. He ended up taking a head knock in a tackle, and he hasn't been able to play rugby and still gets headaches, even though it happened about maybe 11 years ago. So it's one of those ones that, like, as much as it's a shame that sometimes it seems like it's being a little bit critical and a bit harsh on players with the tackling if you hit them around there, like at the end of the day, there are still a lot of players who have taken those shots and now can't play rugby ever again or can't function because of like a cheap shot. And that World Cup final must have frustrated him. He's a passionate lad, says Sebastian. Yeah, I think he was watching it from in Spain, if I'm correct. Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't. Oh, tell you what, that's a big sub. Scott Barrett taken off the field now. I think that is due to the injury here. And that means now that Jamie Hanna will make his way onto the park. But I mentioned how the Crusaders are a completely different side when they have Scott Barrett on the field. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting change. Like the legend Tanu Mangi said, it's not tiddlywinks. That is true. Like, but some people take shots better than other people, don't they? Kalani Thomas. Quick throw taken by David Havili. I mean, you even look at that midfield combo of Conrad Smith and Tana Umanga. Like, it was never really Tana who took the head knocks, was it? It was always Conrad Smith who got knocked out. Which, I mean, this shows how tough Tana was in terms of his head. Just didn't break at all. Now, big run forward from Brody McAllister. Going to the short side, Drummond. Goes off to Severies. Cullen Grace flick out the back door to Christian Leo Willie as the Crusaders move up to the 22 again, but the penalty goes the way of the Reds. And it's still players' fault, get rid of them. Then that's fair, ruin a player's career, you get banned for good. Yeah, but the slight problem there is, of course, for that to happen, they have to ruin a player's career first before they get their ban, don't they? So, you know, it's a weird one. Like, I can understand why there's frustration about, like, the tackle height lowering. But then I can also see why they're doing it with the amount of lawsuits that World Rugby are dealing with at the moment from ex-players who feel like they've been wrongfully, like, treated. Speaking of treated, it looks like one of the Reds players is getting a bit of attention at the moment. Yeah, not having Scott Barrett on the field for the Crusaders, I think it's going to be a pretty tricky one. I'm going to the next Crusaders game in Dunedin against the Highlanders. Says D's Nut, did you pay $15 for your ticket? Because they've been doing that at the moment, ladies and gents. Super Rugby, you can get a $15 ticket for the remaining games of the season. Actually looks like it's Matty Faisler. He's got a bit of an injury here. Go the Reds, go. Says Silanam, that's because Islanders get massive hiding throwing up their heads are hard. Says Nars Williams. One moment of impulsive stupidity, and you've lost 2 players. Says Sebastian there as well. As Barrett injured again, I think it's an injury of some sort, but I don't think it's as serious as him being out for as long as he was in the past. I think it might have been something to do with his fingers, I want to say, but I could be completely wrong. Yeah, just for the one game. Says D's Nuts. But yeah, be sure to enjoy it. Like, South Island derby, it's going to mean probably a little bit more to the two sides now than it does when they play in the past, because it is literally going to be winner stays on almost for the quarterfinals. Well, we're going to go like that and like that. There we go. It started earlier today. Here's Hanoi. Turnover going to be a massive for the Reds today, 7 and 8. And they're going to be a long day. So there's Fraser McRae and also Harry Wilson, one of which just had the ball in hand with Fraser McRae as the Reds start to build forward a little bit more. Great work from Christian Leo Willie, though, and wins the penalty for the Crusaders. Currently 16 minutes in, and we are still 0-0 between these two sides. It is a stalemate currently. I'm rating cake. It's my mum's birthday, says across there, so happy birthday to your mother. My brother's birthday on the day. Isn't that weird how no one had mentioned birthdays, right? At all. And then the time that someone mentions, like, I swear you guys almost put that message through at the same time. So, like, it's been, like, plenty of hours without birthdays, and then all of a sudden, boom, everyone mentions birthday at the same time. It's kind of cool. But also kind of weird, telepathy and stuff. Brodie McAllister now with the line-out throw for the Crusaders. It's going to go in over the top. Christian Leo Willie. Bounce of the ball is favourable for the Crusaders. And it's going to be Corey Callow now slapping it back to Cullen Grace. Tries to break through the line. There's still the knock-on advantage for the Crusaders. May the 4th be with both of them. Says Sebastian. I've never been carded in my 16 years of rugby. Says Beds Blaze. Didn't you mention you clotheslined a kid, though? And it was just lucky that they didn't give you a card for it. And come on, Reds, you can do it, says Mana Black. And happy birthday, Mum. Have a healthy life. Says Spider Meek there. Now, first scrum of the day. Feels a bit weird that we haven't had a scrum up till this point, but now we get to have one. Come on, Reds, you can do it. And Lowell says Nuz Williams. And then may the 4th be the Saders. Yeah, already 18 minutes through. Which side is looking focused today? I think the Crusaders at the moment look like they're more likely to score, but I feel like the Reds are more likely to wear out or kind of like take that early pressure that the Crusaders are putting on them and then turn it into points later in the game, if that makes sense. That was when cards wasn't in that grade. So you're saying that if you had cards, you would have got a card, Paddy. You just picked the right moment to do it by the sounds of it. And good old clothesline. Says Naz Williams. Looks like both sides just having a bit of a huddle here, trying to work out what the next tactic is moving forward. We have got there, random question, Hamish. How much do you make from your channel, roughly per month? Fun fact, it's nowhere near as much as people think it is. Like, and in terms of, I guess, I always say this, and it is true, but any money that we've made off the channel goes back into the channel, and lately, like, that's just been to pay for Sky subscriptions, streaming subscriptions, and, you know, that kind of thing. But, like, I don't make a lot, which is why you got to really enjoy doing it, which is what I do. And hopefully you guys have been enjoying the streams too. But, yeah, it's not as much as people think it would be. Is there a better clothesline in history than Bradshaw's clothesline from hell? It's a pretty stiff one, isn't it? He normally, the thing is, he does it in a way that makes you think, wait, was that real? And most of the time, it actually was. MMA Guru said he gets £4.50 per 1,000 views. Tell you what, that is much better than my CPM. That is for all. I will mention that, like, streaming CPM normally is a lot lower than video CPM as well. But we don't really get a lot of views on videos as opposed to streaming. Still working as a builder? I am, yes. So that is also something that I've used to fund the channel, because the channel at the moment doesn't really fund itself, if that makes sense. Like, I've had to put a lot of my own money in to try and keep it going. And yeah, Hamish, I enjoy your channel, says Stan. I lost my first rugby game today against Queenstown, 34 points to 26. And yes, love the chatter on here. Is Brand live? Is Brand live? Like Russell Brand? Maybe. Did he have a Twitch or something? Russell Brand? Quite a few celebrities have Twitches. Oh, there we go. The offer finishes tomorrow. If you swipe the QR code, you can get yourself a $15 Super Rugby ticket. Yep, the chat here is great. in the commentary too, says Hanoi. I can't remember how bad it was to say if it was. Nah, it was pretty bad. He used to really give it a good go. You know, you do not want to be in a match with him and Ron Simmons, the APA. Definitely not if they were in a bad mood. We have good there, hey Hamish. Here's to hoping Crusaders don't make the playoffs this season. Come on, Queensland Red, says Victor. So, out of curiosity, Victor, I have a question. Is the reason you don't want the Crusaders through to the quarterfinals just because you want to see someone else win it? Or is it because you're worried if they make it to the quarterfinals, they've got a chance of getting a win? Do let me know, because I know that earlier on we were discussing it in the competition, and a lot of people said it wasn't so much that they didn't think the Crusaders could do well in the quarterfinals, it's that they didn't want them there because they knew that they could possibly cause an upset. Is Yanni Brand live? No idea. He normally is live for some of the sevens or Super Rugby, I believe. Now, left-hand side, Mitch Drummond. Now, David Arvili hits the ball up. Drummond again goes off to Johnny McNichol. Out to Dallas McLeod. There was a bit of a stoppage there with the scrum and whatnot. I wonder if the red scrum will compete well, unlike the rebel scrum last week. It does seem like it's already a lot more competitive at scrum time than that last contest. Now, wide cut out pass from Hudson Creighton. Opportunity out wide to give it to Matt Greeley. And say there's no chance this by the Mick. And Crusaders to the final. Oh no, they play bad. Says Stan. That ball is going to be into touch, but it is by the Crusaders. So it does mean that the Reds have got themselves another line out here. And come on, people, hit that like button. Let's try hit 50 likes before the half. And sub if you like this commentary and content. It will mean a lot to the Kiwi lads. Says that pads are there as well. And we've got plenty more coming up today. Ladies and gents, we have got the games of sevens that are taking place a bit later on. We've also got some Champions and Challenge Cup. As Brand Live says, Cross, I feel like the time that it's taken to write is he live 4 times, you could have just checked if he was live. Because once again, I just don't know. And I just want the Crusaders through to the... Or I don't want the Crusaders through to the quarters because this season they've been an endless, relentless, grinding and disgraceful disappointment. Says Sebastian. And we have good there. I want the Blues or the Hurricanes to win it. Tired of Crusaders' domination. Says Victor in there as well. We have good there. Crusaders guy dives sideways. And does the Crusaders have to win? Or is this game vital to them? And hi, Hamish. Both sides here need this win to really have a good chance of making their way through. But it is not confirmed whoever wins this game that they can make their way to the quarters as of yet. There's still some big games around the corner. Now, I believe that ball has popped out the back for the Reds. It did become a rolling maul. They've done extremely well to be able to recover that ball. And now straight through. Jock Campbell. Chance for him. Like an interesting tackle attempt from Jamie Hanna, who just threw his body at the guy to drag him down. But 12 metres out from the line, Kalani Thomas going off to Penny Ravai. After 20 minutes in this match, it is still 0-0. The Reds now with a brilliant opportunity to score first points in this contest. Ski has got Crusaders all the way played in Ellesmere. Was your old YouTube name Ski, or have you changed it out of curiosity, Ski? Because I think your profile picture looks familiar, but I think you might have had a different name originally. That is close to the line now for the Reds. Kalani Thomas goes short to Mick Wright. And the Reds have been able to stop all of the Crusaders' momentum by scoring the first try in this contest. Massive, massive try for Fraser McWright. 50k predicted to be reached during the Rugby Championship. And I'd say so, or maybe the November internationals. We will manage to get there. And then I should have dived over, says Annoying. Let's go the Reds, says Spink. And say to stay a long bury under the rubbles. And the Reds score. Still think the Crusaders will win though. Says Novmum. But just short of the try line. And then Fraser McWright, he was ready for that next pass. Managed to get his way through. Fiji Island play yet, Amy, says Spider-Mick. Not quite. They are going to be playing at one moment. I'll get the exact time, but I believe it is at 5:37, I think it is. For that one. A red seam weaker and a white jumper. And let's go. Reds, Hamish, I think you say Crusaders will score first. Says Stan. That is true, so I guess you can say that I'm wrong if you like. Although I did also say that I felt like the Reds, that they will start scoring points when they've weathered that early storm. And that is what has happened here. They've managed to hold off the Crusaders for long enough that now they have got the opportunity to score some points of their own. I feel like they'll be able to build quite nicely upon that. This kick has gone over, so it does make the score at 7-0 now in favour of the Reds. Reds seem weaker, and also come on Saders and hurt Hammy. Most non-Saders Kiwis going for the Reds. I think so, and once again, I think it comes down to the factor of they don't want to see the Crusaders in the quarterfinals for multiple reasons, one of which because they want a new champion, and the other is because they don't want to play them in the quarters. But that is a massive shot there. Oh, Dallas McLeod actually penalised for that one, but it was a massive shot coming in on Jock Campbell. Am I right, as a decent number 7 replacement for Mikey Hooper for the Wallabies? The bloke's grafted, says Sebastian. Yeah, it seems like they've got quite a few options at the moment in terms of that midfield, that loose forward trio for the Reds that they can use, and also for the Wallabies in general. I love to see the Crusaders win. And also, how's David Arveli doing at 10 so far? He's been quite quiet. Like, he's had a couple good moments. That's a great shot from Levi Moore. Putting the shot into Jock Campbell. Hooper, I will say no, says Stan. Well, Hooper's not there, so he is the replacement. Your second reason, says Ski. Now nicely thrown in. McWright goes off to Harry Wilson. There's almost the most try assists out of any number 8 in the competition with about 5 or 6. And while big tackle, Jock Campbell too small for the Wallabies, says Annoy. And I'd love to see the Saders win. Says Spider-Man, nicely taken by Severies, tackled in the air by Tim Ryan. And yes, Reds, come on. Back across now to Jamie Hanna. Wrestled down by Penny Ravai. Drummond back into the pocket to Havili. We'll put it high. Johnny McNichol chasing after this one. It's well taken by Matt Greeley. 40 metres out from their line here. The Reds counter-ruck. Doesn't work out for the Crusaders. And now it's left a lot of open space. It's about a 3-on-1. Passed across to Jock Campbell. The reinforcements coming for the Saders. Matt Greeley, one more on the outside. And Tim Ryan, the youngster, scores his 4th try in 2 games. And the Reds have struck again, ladies and gentlemen. That was a great play. Broken their way through, scoring again. It's certainly a great start for the man. Like I've said, it's only the second start for the youngster Tim Ryan. He's already got himself 4 tries now. And what a try, says freshman. And yeah, just very well done from the Reds not to panic at any time during that play. They knew that they had to keep that ball moving to keep the Crusaders on their toes and keep them retreating. And then just finding the right pass at the right time. Reese wasn't able to catch up with Ryan, who finishes the job. And the Reds get themselves the try. You can see the celebration from the Reds coaches. They were absolutely loving that one. And damn, New Zealand looks thin at 10. D. Carter left a massive hole. Richie and Barrett in Japan is going to stand up, says Morse. Well, at the moment, it seems like Damian McKenzie is the front runner for that jersey. Havili at 10 was actually requested by the All Blacks to see how he would go there. But more than likely, I mean, I think that Barrett will be back from Japan, I believe, for at least some of it. That kick has gone over as well. 14-0 in favour of the Reds here. Personally, don't have anything against Saders or their fans. Just want Aussie teams beating Kiwi teams as much as they can, except obviously against the Landers. But why are they also lame this year? Says Florian. If we're talking the Crusaders, I mean, they've had a lot of changes, which of course, anytime you bring up, people say it's excuses. But like in terms of the amount of players that they lost this season, like there was always going to be a bit of an adjustment. That's accidental offside from Penny Ravai. And D-Mac is good, guys. I'm a Wallaby. But that guy is good. I think that is from Stead. I see red. Says Spider-Mech. And also, damn, the Saders suck this season, says Scott Dawson. And also, Spinks, are you a Kiwi? I would assume so. Other than, of course, he's a Highlanders supporter, so he doesn't want the Highlanders to be losing. But other than that, he's happy to see the occasional Kiwi side go down. 27 minutes in at the moment. What has been a weird first half, mainly because it's been one-sided in some regards in favour of the Crusaders. Like, possession-wise, the Crusaders have had a lot more of it. But then, in terms of what has happened on the field and in terms of points that have been scored, we have seen a lot more in favour of the Reds. And bugger me, so far the Reds killing this game so far. So here's Gary. Now we got another penalty. I believe this one's going to be against the Reds. Now David Arveli will be able to kick this one towards the touchline. Well, we will go like that. And like that. And the conversions make a big difference. They certainly do. Every extra point that you can get on the board is massively beneficial. I'm sure that as this game goes towards its end, we will see that more and more. Now another chance for the Crusaders to go for the attack. It's overthrown. And the Reds have managed to survive once more. Kicked him behind. Massive boot. Looking for a 50-22. Reese gets back to be able to cover it. He's already covered maybe about 70 metres and now has to try and find that next pass. Takes it to ground. The Reds relentless in the breakdown, but it's available for Drummond. Oh, that was close to Ryan Smith being offside. Same with Penny Ravai for the Reds, but they're trying to get that little bit of the extra jump on early. Now Drummond has been told to use it. Puts it high. Towards the touchline, nicely cleaned up. And number 15, Jock Campbell, goes back across now to Hudson Creighton, trying to find a gap, but he's tackled hard by George Bell, who's already onto the field. And is to replace Brody McAllister, who went off early. So the Crusaders losing those two early injuries in this game already. Big run from Penny and Ravai. Unfortunately, though, their hands couldn't back it up. And that is going to be the knock-on against the Reds. D-Mac, the Navigator, running in Rugby Championship, an instinctive 10. I'm not sold on that. Dan Carter was also an instinctive 10, but how he was also a marvellous game manager like Johnny Sexton and Pollard. Interesting, certainly, says Morse. Yeah, although it's quite interesting because it was mentioned, I think it was last week, when there was a bit of an argument about whether or not Damian McKenzie is of the standard to be a fly half. And of course, international level was different, but they talked about it like Super Rugby-wise. Every season, that man's at the top of the point scoring, or relatively close to it. He's at the top of, like, kind of the try assists and everything along those lines normally, and always has, like, pretty much top 5 in the majority of the stats. So he's doing great numbers. It's just whether or not now that he's considered as the first choice, like, maybe that's just the freedom that he needed. Because for so long, he's found himself as that guy who's the backup. But now he gets to be front and centre, and perhaps that will be hugely beneficial for him. It's going to be kicked in behind. Awkward bouncing ball, and it has gone into touch. So Carvelli is going to put that one over the sideline. Go the Panthers, says Kerr. And there's, oh, welcome in, Kerr. Hope you are doing well. Hope you're excited for the rugby that is later on tonight. The Challenge Cup, the Champions Cup, the Sevens. Damian McKenzie is that guy, given that New Zealand just must admit it. And damn over Barrett, says Katzenell. Yep, I would say at the moment, based off form, you've got to go with Damian McKenzie over Bowden Barrett. Yes, you can have Barrett off the bench as a great cover for 10 as well as 15. But I honestly feel like with Damian McKenzie playing the way that he is, like you've got to give him some decent starting minutes. You know? And that can be tricky to do sometimes. You know, sometimes you want to give those other guys the chance. Now passed on the outside. That's again here for the Reds. Kicked in behind from Kalani Thomas. Goes straight to Lee Harpenny. That's true, Hamish. And look at the Crusaders go. Tears Bears ablaze. I tell you what, they've been struggling a little bit throughout this first half, that is for sure. Only 8 minutes remaining There's a big boot from Lee Halfpenny, but it doesn't find touch. Now Crichton goes for the kick back down the middle, sits up for Lee Halfpenny. Can play a little bit of the territory game. Is Brand live? Once again, mate, the amount of times you've asked, you could have just checked rather than asking us 15 times. We good to see D-Mac in the 7, says Annoy. And also, they are doing so well. Damn, they are good, says Pads Ablaze. And how many Crusaders do you think will make the All Blacks this year? I think that we're probably going to see, I'd say like maybe anywhere between 5 and 7. You know, somewhere around there. I think we're going to see a few of these guys get the opportunity for the All Blacks. Sevu Reece, 1. I think that George Bell will be there as a bolter. I think that we'll probably see maybe George Bower in there for one of the propping options, just because he's under the tutelage of already being a Razor Robinson guy. You've got David Havili, who I believe will be there. Fletcher Newell, I think, will still get through as well because of the Crusaders scrum. You want to keep it relatively consistent. Number 1 putting hand up, says Steen. And they are, well, we have got their R minus 15. And also number 1 putting hand up for me, says Steen there as well. Talking about David Havili here. And I think he'll be in there somewhere, to be honest. Right, the line out is over. They have been told to use it once. He's in the middle, he's fine. Is the referee. Now, nicely taken by Sevu Reece. Just runs over the top of George Bell, and that is going to be the penalty in favour of the Crusaders. Whereas we'll pick most Crusaders no matter what, says Spider-Mick. Well, that's the thing. Like, as a coach, like he'll know what those guys are capable of. Certain players, that is. So, you know, I think that it should go all right, I would think. You know, it's hard to say. All right, we will go like that. And like that. And Penny has that sinking feeling. Look on the face again, says Annoy. Although the Crusaders still not out of this game. Of course, we are only 35 minutes through. At the moment, the way that it sits, that is a good sack from the Reds, but the ball pops out the back for Corey Callow. Then go across to Levi Amor. Now Reece looking to snipe his way around the breakdown. Dallas McLeod lined up early. Scott Barrett injured again. He is at the moment, but like I think he's only going to be out for the rest of this game. I think he'll be back afterwards, but they took him off nice and early just to not risk a bigger injury. Here comes Levi Amor, found the offload to Bell, but it's bounced backwards. Ball's there for Cullen Grace. Now across to Reece. Fletcher Newell. Christian Leo Willie. Now Drummond again. Going off to Reece. And does Clark ever start this year? See, Caleb Clark's an interesting one, isn't he? Because is Razor even going to put him in his side, or is he going to go for a few of those other guys who have been doing relatively well? Now Drummond crawls forward, 12 metres out from the line, round the side. Jamie Hanna makes 2 more metres. Reece sells the dummy, pop pass over the top to George Bower. And why I make that comment? Because Razor trained and coached them, says Spider Mech. Around this side again. Drummond goes across now to Fletcher Newell. Short side. New advantage coming the way of the Crusaders. That is for offside. Christian Leo Willie. On across to George Bow again. Getting driven backwards at the moment. It's good defence from the Reds. Not allowing the Crusaders to sneak their way through. Ball's gone backwards. Still going to be play on. It's there for Sevu Reece. Look for the offload, and they will now go back for that original penalty. But not sure what the plan is now for the Crusaders. They have to go for the corner. The score actually says it's 12 points to 0, but I believe it's 14-0. Unrelated, but I saw an article on Rugby Pass that Josh Morby signed with Montpellier. He did. He actually signed just around that same time as Geordie Barrett signed with Leinster. So not many people realised that Morby was also leaving because like Barrett pretty much took all the hype in terms of that weekend. But Josh Morby, just a quiet signing to Montpellier. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in France, although it does also take him out of the running for an opportunity. And the ABs come on Queensland Reds, says Stan. Now George Bell. Looking to get this one rolling forward here for the Crusaders. Some of my boys deserve to wear black, says Spider-Mech. Drummond. Pop pass up to David Arvili. Almost could stretch out, but still just short. Here comes George Bell. They have to go to the left-hand side here. Drummond knows it, although McLeod does go himself and scores the try, the inside centre. Crusaders now back into the game. Going to be an interesting second half, that is for sure. Now, sadly, due to the overlap that we have got, we will have to give you guys updates on the second half while doing the sevens as well. First game that we are doing is Fiji versus Ireland, so I do recommend popping over for that one. And yeah, throughout that game, we will also be letting you know exactly who is leading in this competition as it goes down to the wire. They're disappointed there. It's not quite able to stop the Crusaders from bundling over the line. Now lining up this kick, it will be Lee Halfpenny again. He did miss his first kick at the post. Did shank it away to the left-hand side. That one will give him a bit more confidence, the fact that they have got the try on the board. And he's got that one over for Lee Halfpenny, making the score now 14 points to 7. Although it still says 12 points to 7 on the actual scoreboard, but I believe it is 14-7 as we currently sit. Okay, they're just saying about around the goal line. I think that was anyway. "20 seconds left in the half. Kicked off long by the Reds. Nicely taken by David Arvili, who looked to the short side. Beautiful pop pass. And here comes Fletcher Null. Another offload to Jamie Hanna. Now they're starting to fly forward here. The Crusaders perhaps just needed to get that one try on the board to then build their confidence. Out the back line, Lee Halfpenny goes to Severeese, who steps inwards. Tackled by Harry Wilson, but he got his offload away to Dallas McLeod. Close to the touchline at the moment, the Crusaders. They're also close to their own 22. Harvili passes across to Fletcher Null. Looks like the Saders want to have another crack. Great attacking speed from Null there. Now across Harvili and behind to Levi and Moore. They're making meters for fun here. Cullen Grace gets the pass on the outside. Decides he wants to go himself and was just into touch. So that is going to be halftime in this contest. Sitting 7 points to 14 at halftime. Well, it's an interesting one. I feel like the second half is also going to be extremely intriguing. One moment, we'll go like this and like that. So the game of the sevens that has taken place, ladies and gentlemen, between Fiji and Ireland, it is starting at 5:37. So that is 12 minutes time for that match does end up kicking off. Now we are going to be transferring over to that live stream to keep you guys updated on what is happening in the sevens, but also alongside that we will be keeping you updated with what is happening live in the Reds versus Crusaders game with score updates. Second half going to be massive, says Stan Yankees. Yeah, it's going to be a very important one for these two sides. And halftime, flat white time, says Spider-Mech and there as well. What I will quickly do is we'll go like this and like that. There we go. I am just preparing for that next stream as well while we are at halftime, ladies and gents. I think it's going to be a hard second half to predict. How long are the halves? Normally about 15 minutes or somewhere around 12 minutes normally is about how long they end up being. Look at SABC Sports. It shows the score. Says cross-boarding And also we have good there, 40, says Stan. And no pay, says Cross. And there as well. Right, we'll go like this. And like that as well. Fiji only play for pride. Although I think they've still got a little bit of a chance of being able to go through to the next stage. Of course, it's a slim chance, but, you know, they'll still take it at this point. They've got to make sure that they have a great performance up against the Irish. And that one. Yeah, so the plan, ladies and gents, will be once we go to that next stream, we will keep you updated with what is happening throughout this game that is currently on. And I'm a Blue supporter, but I like my New Zealand teams to all-day texting from Rarotonga, says David. And that's the thing, like, they're not out of this game yet, the Crusaders, and if the Reds aren't careful, you know, if the Crusaders score early in the second half, they'll be right back into the contest. So they have to make sure that they take their opportunities. Just showing an advertisement there for the field days, but there are 3 games of the 7th. Then later on tonight, we are hoping to either do the Brumbies versus Fiji and Drill game or the Challenge Cup game between Clermont and the Sharks. That is going to be taking place at Twickenham. Should be an absolutely awesome atmosphere for that one. Right, we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. Hamilton field days. That's where it's going to be. Fun fact. Yeah, second half, I think that something that the Reds did well was their defense in that first half. They didn't really allow the Crusaders any sort of real back-to-back momentum, although near the end they started getting a little bit closer. How much they can score if they want, but be careful for the Queensland Reds. Well, that's the thing. The Crusaders last 5 minutes, they had a lot more of the ball, and that will be something that's a little bit concerning for the Reds, but as long as they can stop them from scoring while they have the ball, I feel like, you know, they're still going to be in the box seat in that regard. But second half is just around the corner, ladies and gents. But also around the corner is the 7s that has taken place. So like I've said, we're kind of doing a little bit of a multi-live stream in that regard. What I will quickly do is I will get you guys the link to that next live stream so you know where to find us while this game is still taking place, as we are going to be doing a multi-streaming situation. Originally, I was going to have someone helping me with this live stream while I was doing the 7s, but that fell through, so now it's just me trying to balance 2 streams at the same time, which is extremely stressful, that is for sure. But hopefully we can make it work, and hopefully it's not too frustrating to watch us kind of trying to do 2 different games, giving updates along the way. Hard running, coming second half, says Stian Yankees there. The 1 try coming for the Crusaders was Dallas McLeod, then McWright and Ryan, the 2 try scorers coming back to back for the Reds. Then also just the conversion for Lee Halfpenny in the 40th minute. He did miss an earlier 3-point attempt. South Africa versus Wales on the 22nd of June, says cross-boarding. It's getting very close, that is for sure. And hard running coming in the second half, says Stian in there as well. And also, we have got there Fiji only playing for pride for that 7 side of things. I'll quickly get the 7s table up as well while we are at it, ladies and gents. But there is so much rugby on today, whether that is the Champions Cup, whether that's the Challenge Cup, whether that is the 7s or Super Rugby. It's all happening, and it's all going to be very exciting to watch, and we're going to be covering as much of it as we physically can. Even if the voice starts to give out near the end, we're still going to be going. And also tomorrow we have got plenty more rugby. We're going to be doing the Champions Cup tomorrow, the second semi-final of that one between Toulouse and Harlequins. Where do Rusty play his first game? Says Stian. I think it's in... Is it in South Africa, the first game for the South Africans? Or have they actually... They might have a game in Wales instead first, maybe. You can do it, New Zealand. Ingenuity, says David there. So far we've seen 80 tackles made from the Reds and not too many missed tackles. So I think that is definitely something that is going to help them in the long run. Just having that ability of keeping that ball in hand. You do fine. You always make great commentary. Love your work. Dedication into these streams. Says pads ablaze. But what I will quickly do, ladies and gentlemen, so the link for the next live stream that we are going to in only a couple minutes time, and pretty much to clarify, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be doing the play-by-play of the Fiji versus Ireland game of the sevens, followed by Spain versus Samoa. But during that, we're also going to be giving the score updates of this Crusaders versus Reds game, telling you exactly who is scoring the tries, when they are scoring them, and kind of the main feel of what's happening in this game. So it's a little bit of a mix and match type of stream, but the reason that we're doing that is, like I said, I originally had something lined up for me to be able to let someone else do some of the stream, and then I was going to go away, do the sevens, then come back. But sadly, I got left on my own. So yeah, it's just me now for two different streams that overlap, which is difficult, but we make it work. Is there any wind at the Crusaders game? Not a huge amount. It's pretty timid. I think it's about maybe 13 Ks, and also it was about 11 degrees Celsius or so in there as well. The Crusaders are actually 56% likely to win this game, ladies and gentlemen. That is quite a surprise to myself. I would have thought that they'd come in as slight underdogs, seeing as they are down by 7 and also down a bit further on the table. But because it's in Christchurch, I think that is slightly a more evening factor than perhaps first anticipated. I was wondering because Lee Halfpenny missed an easy kick, says Annoy. But yeah, this is the link to that next live stream that I mentioned. It is starting in 2 minutes' time, and we will be on that live stream doing the commentary for the sevens as well as the second half of this game. Ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a mix and match type scenario going on, but we've got the 3 games of the sevens. Then we've got a little bit of a break, followed by New Zealand versus Australia in the rugby sevens. And then later on tonight, we've got the quarterfinals as well as some Super Rugby, possibly the Brumbies, Fiji and draw, depending on who is playing who in the sevens. And then also Clermont taking on the Sharks, with La Rochelle versus Northampton Saints taking place in the early hours of the morning. That is taking place in 11 hours' time. We are still going to be live, still awake for that next contest. But nonetheless, I think that we are almost at the stage how we will be transferring over to that next stream, like I mentioned, for the sevens as well as the second half of this contest. So be sure to follow that link in the chat if you do want to catch us telling you what is happening in the second half of this contest as well. But thank you all very much for tuning into this one. I do apologise that it's a bit muddled, and we will give you the updates for the rest of this game, like I mentioned, on that next live stream and the one after that. But yeah, just a little bit of an overlap here due to last minute changes. So I do thank you all very much for being here. We'll see you all in only a minute's time on that next live stream.